Welcome to English literature class, my dear students of class 12. Open page number 106 of the chapter The Sound Machine. Page number 106. Start from here. Mrs. Saunders had always believed. From here, the second paragraph from the upside. Mrs. Saunders had always believed her neighbor to be a rather peculiar person, unique person. Now it seemed that he had gone completely crazy. He has become crazy, mad. She wondered whether she should run into the house and fetch her husband. She got afraid that Klausner has become crazy. So she wanted to fetch her husband, but immediately she thought, no, he is harmless. I will just humor him. I will just mock him. He said, certainly, Mr. Klausner, if you like, I will cut the another stem of the rose flowers. She said. She took her scissors from the basket, bent down and snipped another rose. Again Klausner heard that frightful throatless shriek in the earphones. Again it came at the exact moment the rose stem was cut. He took off the earphones and ran to the fence that separated the two gardens. All right, he said, that's enough. No more, please, no more. Means, please don't cut another stem. That's enough. The woman stood there, a yellow rose in one hand, clippers in the other, looking at him in amazement. I am going to tell you something, Mrs. Saunders. He said, something that you won't believe. He put his hands on top of the fence and peered, looked at her intently, focused through his thick spectacles. You have this evening cut a basket full of roses. You have with a sharp pair of scissors cut through the stems of living things, and each rose that you cut screamed in the most terrible way. Did you know that, Mrs. Saunders? Did you know that each rose that you cut screamed in the most terrible way? No, she said. I certainly didn't know that. It happens to be true. He said he was breathing rather rapidly, but he was trying to control his excitement. I heard them shrieking. Each time you cut one, I heard the cry of pain, a very high-pitched sound, approximately 132,000 vibrations a second. You couldn't possibly have heard it yourself, but I heard it. You couldn't possibly, because it is a high-pitched sound. So you couldn't possibly have heard, but I heard it. Did you really, Mr. Klausner? She decided she would make a dash. She wanted to run quickly from there for the house in about 5 seconds. Because she did not believe what Klausner said to her. You might say, he went on, that a rose bush has no nervous system to feel with, no throat to cry with. You would be right. It hasn't. Not like ours anyway. But how do you know, Mrs. Saunders? And here he leaned far over the fence and spoke in a fierce whisper. How do you know that a rose bush doesn't feel as much pain when someone cuts its stem into two, as you would feel if someone cut your wrist off with the garden shears? Shear, a tool with two blades, garden tool. A tool with two blades. How do you know that? It's alive, isn't it? He said. Klausner said that it is alive. Yes, Mr. Klausner. Oh, yes, and good night. Quickly she turned and ran up the garden to her house. Klosner went back to the table. He put on the earphones and stood for a while listening. He could still hear the faint crackling sound and the humming noise of the machine, but nothing more. He bent down and took hold of a small white daisy. Daisy is a type of flower growing on the lawn. He took it between thumb and forefinger and slowly pulled it upward and sideways until the stem broke. From the moment that he started pulling to the moment when the stem broke, he distinctly, clearly heard in the earphones a faint, high-pitched cry. Curiously inanimate, motionless, he took another daisy and did it again. Once more he heard the cry, but he wasn't so sure now that it expressed pain. No, it wasn't pain. It was surprise. Or was it? It didn't really express any of the feelings or emotions known to a human being. It was just a cry, a neutral, stony, a single emotionless tone, expressing nothing. It had been the same with the roses. He had been wrong in calling it cry of pain. It was not cry of pain, it was a neutral, stony cry. A flower probably didn't feel pain. He made an idea. Klosner made an idea. A flower probably didn't feel pain. It felt something else which we didn't know about. Something called twain or spurl or plenipment means here used for saying I don't know what it means or anything you like. He stood up and removed the earphones. It was getting dark and he could see pricks of light shining in the windows of the houses all around him. Carefully he picked up the black box from the table, carried it into the shed and put it on the workbench. Then he went out, locked the door behind him and walked up to the house. The next morning Klosner was up as soon as it was light, early in the morning. He dressed and went straight to the shed. He picked up the machine and carried it outside, clasping it to his chest with both hands, walking unsteadily. Under its weight, as it was too heavy to carry. He went past the house, out through the front gate and across the road to the park. There he paused and looked around him. Then he went on until he came to a large tree that was a beech tree, and he placed the machine on the ground, close to the trunk of the tree. Quickly he went back to the house and got an axe from the coal cellar and carried it across the road into the park. He put the axe on the ground beside the tree. Then he looked around him again, peering nervously through his thick glasses in every direction. He was searching for somebody who could help him. There was no one about it. It was 6 in the morning. He put the earphones on his head and switched on the machine. He listened for a moment to the faint familiar humming sound. Then he picked up the axe, took a stance, took a position with his legs wide apart and swung the axe as hard as he could at the base of the tree trunk. The blade cut deep into the wood and stuck there, and at the start of impact he heard a most extraordinary noise in the earphones. It was a new noise, unlike any he had heard before. Peculiar type of sound. A harsh, noteless, enormous, huge noise. A growling, harsh, low-pitched screaming sound, not quick and short like the noise of the roses, but drawn out like a sobbing sound. lasting for fully a minute, loudest at the moment when the axe struck, fading gradually, fainter and fainter until it was gone. Klausener stared in horror at the place where the blade of the axe had sunk into the wood flesh of the tree. Then gently he took the axe handle, worked the blade loose, and threw the thing on the ground. Threw the axe on the ground. With his finger he touched the gash. Gash means cut, wound, that the axe had made in the wood, touching the edges of the gash, trying to press them together to close the wound, and he kept saying, "Tree, oh tree, I am sorry. I am so sorry, but it will heal. It will be cured. It will heal. Fine." For a while he stood there with his hands upon the trunk of the great tree. Then suddenly he turned away and hurried out of the park, across the road, through the front gate and back into his house. He went to the telephone, consulted the book, dialed a number, and waited. He held the receiver tightly in his left hand and tapped the table impatiently with his right. He heard the telephone buzzing at the other end, and then the click of a lifted receiver and a man's voice, a sleepy voice, saying, "Hello, yes, Dr. Scott? Yes, speaking, Dr. Scott. You must come at once quickly, please." "Who is it speaking?" "Klausener here. And you remember what I told you last night about my experience with sound and how I hoped I might." Yes, of course. What's the matter? Are you ill?" "No, I'm not ill, but it is 6:30 in the morning," the doctor said, "and you call me, but you are not ill." "Please come. Come quickly. I want someone to hear it. It's driving me mad. I can't believe it." The doctor heard the frantic means here mentally unstable, almost hysterical note in the man's voice. The same note he was used to hearing in the voices of people who called up and said, "There has been an accident. Come quickly," he said slowly. "You really want me to get out of bed and come over now?" "Yes, now. At once, please." "All right, then I will come." And what happened, you will study in the next video. Thank you so much, students.